Hello, this is my talk at the Apache ECharts 2020. If you like it, please make sure to subscribe my channel to follow more topics like this. Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today with this topic. First, a little explanation on the title. Data visualization tools have been evolving over the years. And today I'm going to introduce the evolving history with the features Apache ECharts gradually adds. And hopefully through this very specific tool, I wish to give you some insights on why and how these changes happen for general data-viz products and how it has shaped the modern visualization tools we see today. On the other hand, recently we have added a few new features to Apache ECharts so that it is better at telling stories behind the data and making it a great tool for storytelling. So I'm Wenli Zhang, and you may also call me Ovelia. I've joined the project for about 5 years ago, and I'm working full-time on it now. I'm a member of Apache ECharts Incubating PPMC and also a committer. ECharts was originally a project inside our company, Baidu. 8 years ago, an engineer created a chart tool to solve the problems relating to his job. And after half year's improvement, he made this open source on GitHub under an organization of Baidu. In 2018, the project was donated to the ASF, and it has been under incubation since then. Now we are working on our next big release, ECharts V5, and discussing about graduation in our mailing list. First, let's ask, why do we need a chart in the first place? Why it is not enough to show the data itself? Well, let's take this case for example. This is a survey about one's attitudes on violence against women. To be more specific, it asks whether you think it is justified beating wife when she does certain things. When you look at this table, you may find it hard to get the point of these figures at first sight. Well, unless you are math genius, apparently. But if we take a little visual hint, like using bars for data values, we can get the idea of this table much faster. That people with higher education tend to have less violent attitudes against women. We call these bar charts, but they are just simple rectangles in essence, right? We all know that a picture is more than 1,000 words. But how does this happen? Why do we understand pictures much better than words or numbers? Our ancestors spent millions of years surviving and evolving, where visual signals played a crucial role. According to the revolutionary laws, those who don't understand pictures well were more likely to get killed or failed to find enough food, so it is harder for their DNA to pass along. On the other side, words and numbers were invented only a few thousand years ago. So our ability to understand words and numbers is much less developed than pictures, which gives you a good reason to use charts instead of raw data to convey messages to others. Charts at the early stage only had simple functions and were most likely to be static, without animation or interaction. Naive as it might be, it did complete the job to help people better understand obscure data. And next, I'm going to tell the story of how, step by step, these naive charts evolved into modern chart visualization tools. We have much more complex functions today. We see in previous examples that charts at this stage were quite simple and have only limited functions. Chart types were limited to most frequently used ones like bar charts, line charts, scatter charts, and pie charts. It had little interactions and served almost as image. And it was hard to use chart tools at this stage to do things complex. Also, there were limited animations and not very good looking. So people at this stage realizes that it is useful to involve more animations and more chart types to make charts fancier. The ability to make complex animation is required in some cases to make charts to be more pleasing and interesting. ECharts provides animation duration and delay for each data item, so it is flexible enough to create different animation effects for various situations. And all our attempts to make charts more pleasing are not just for aesthetical considerations. More importantly, a nicer looking chart may also provide a higher probability that users love your product and tend to use it more often. More chart types were supported at this stage. Take Apache ECharts for example, we have radar charts, heat map charts, parallel charts, Sankey charts, and so on. In fact, Apache ECharts provides more than 20 built-in chart types, and there are community-made extensions to further increase this number. By providing a large number of chart types, it is more flexible for developers to make different charts for different data and scenarios. Besides, if you have very specific charts to make, ECharts also provide very flexible APIs for you to make charts like these. Another of our PPMC member, Shuangsu, shared a speech yesterday at the ApacheCon, sharing about how Apache ECharts designed this flexible yet easy-to-use API for users to create customized charts. You can check out his slides for more information if you are interested. Furthermore, Apache ECharts has an extension based on WebGL to make 3D charts like 3D globes, parametric curves in the surfaces, city visualization, and so on. So at stage 2, we did have more decorations like animations and more chart types to make charts look prettier. The reason why I am using the word decorations here is that sometimes these kind of improvements do not necessarily provide any extra information. For example, the left chart is a stacked bar series in a polar system, while the one on the right side is a more traditional bar series in the Cartesian system. By making the bar charts be in a polar system does not provide any extra information. So we say that they are visually equivalent. But in some cases, it does provide special flavors to the charts and thus makes it more engaging. Since the animations and interactions were most for decoration, the ability to let users explore the data are still limited in stage 2. And that is why we introduced more interactions at stage 3 to help users explore the data and better understand it. Benjamin Franklin had this famous saying that tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. By including interactive components in a chart provides a chance for the users to involve so that they can get a better understanding of your data. Let's take legend for example. At stage 2, legends were usually static and just for indicating which color is for which series. But at stage 3, it became interactive. A user may hover on a legend to switch on or off a series and see the comparison with other series. In ECharts v5, we also provide a way to highlight a certain series when hovering on one piece of the series data. Less is more. By downplaying other series, we make the one series stand out and see the data without distraction. Data zooming is also a great tool to explore the details of data. In this case, we have 1 million scatter points. We can first have an overall impression of the whole data shape, and then zoom in to see the details of a certain part. Another thing worth mentioning is that Apache ECharts providing progressive rendering so that it is able to render 1 million scatter points like this. If you are interested in this topic, you may find more information on my YouTube channel, where I introduced how ECharts rendered tens of millions of data in real time. The link is included in the slides, which you may download after this talk. Another interesting interactive component ECharts provides is data brushing. In this example, you may brush select part of the data on the left side, and the bar series will be updated on the with the corresponding data on the right side. And you can even drag the selecting area to move around and see other parts of the data on the map and observe the changes on the right side. And what's more exciting about this is that this brushing and connecting logic is very easy to implement if you are using Apache ECharts because it does all the underlying works for you. We can see that at stage 3, we already have quite complex abilities to make charts of different styles. Your imagination of what you want to make with these features is really the limitation of what you can create. So how can we even do better after this? Well, Apache ECharts answered this question with storytelling, to tell the story behind the data. With the upcoming ECharts v5, you can make this bar-raising effect to tell the story of how data changes over time. This is an example of average life expectancy of different countries and regions. Instead of using several static charts of varied years, this bar-raising effect can make it easier for users to have instant impression on how data changes over time. We also plan to make a tool for users to make this kind of charts with GUI so that no coding is required. Similarly, ECharts v5 also comes with line raising effect, which also is used for showing the data changes over time, but gives extra information on the overall tendency. Another useful feature for storytelling is the morphing effect for custom series. As we introduced earlier, ECharts provide custom series to let users define how their special charts look like. And what makes it cooler here is that you can soon create morphing effects like this with ECharts custom series and tell the story of how data in one chart type transform into another, or the aggregation and composition of the data. What stage 4 differs from 3 is that it provides more complex methods to tell the story that cannot be done otherwise. By providing these methods, we wish to make it easier for users to tell the story behind data, rather than just showing the data. It's not just for decoration, but by accentuating the impact of data, you can let people learn the story, feel the shock, and hopefully take actions for the change, for the better after seeing the charts you make. And that's what we wish to do with providing powerful yet easy to use storytelling functions at this stage. It may be hard to tell where the next stage goes with data-viz, but as the saying goes, the best way to predict the future is by creating it. We are working continuously to make data-viz tools easier to use while keeping its flexibility. And I believe data-viz is playing a more and more important role in the future, so now is the best time to dive into Apache ECharts if you have not, and tell a story of your own. In conclusion, we introduced the history of how data-viz tools evolved with the examples of ECharts and explained the motivation and considerations behind it. One thing we need to know about is that these stages do not take place linearly and may probably overlap each other with certain tools. And that is pretty much I'd like to share today. And I will take questions now, and you may send me an email if you prefer to. Thank you.